And welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show, a podcast brought to you by the Livingston Parish News. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news, and this is from the Cheap Seats. It's where I sit down with this gentleman here, and we talk about what's going on in Livingston Parish athletics. I'm going to give him a second to introduce himself. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the booth.
Hey, thanks. This is Rob DeArmond, sports editor with the Livingston Parish News.
I don't know why I said welcome to the booth. It's not like we don't do this every week.
It's a booth. Hey.
And it's not really a booth, it's a room.
It's a room, yeah. Call it the booth and just be good with it.
Right.
You know?
Well, I'm so used to calling it the booth of the box, as a fellow press person.
I gotcha.
First, before we get into winter sports, the fall sports just keep rearing their head, man. I mean,
yeah.
So we have some coaching assignments that have been made at Walker and Live Oak. We're going to start at Walker, and let's start with volleyball.
Yeah, we had it was basically sitting there on Saturday morning, and Mr. St. Pierre, Jason St. Pierre, the principal at Walker, made a post. They have hired Greg Castillo as their new volleyball coach. Got to talk to Coach Castillo at length on Saturday. He's got bringing a wealth of some college and high school coaching experience with him. He's won a combined 5 state championships between Cabrini and Vanderbilt Catholic, which is where he's coming from. He's also got some college experience. He just said he was able to meet with the team on Friday. Got a little look at them and got to talk to him. And he said the biggest thing that he's here for is to bring them a state championship. He said it's not for him, it's for them, it's for those players, and it's. It may take a while to get there, but that's the ultimate goal. He said there's also some things, part of the plan to get the program, where they'd like to see it be is to kind of get some feeder schools going from the junior high programs, which is something in talking to some of the coaches here in the parish, that's something they'd all like to do because there really aren't any feeder programs for volleyball to come in. It's basically they're coaching freshmen as they come in and get them accustomed to high school volleyball. So that's one of the things that he wants to take a look at and try to get going. And it's just in kind of an all-out style. He said when you come to see him play, he wants to see him going for that ball, digging for that ball, just playing really aggressively in what they do. And like I said, it's just one of those things. And in talking to Mr. St. Pierre, it's we make the hire because we want to improve our program and try to get it to be one of the best in the parish, and that's the ultimate goal.
Sure. So we'll be keeping an eye out for them to. I guess they'll be practicing this spring, getting into maybe some things this summer, but. Volleyball typically sticks to the fall.
What Coach Castillo said, he said he'd like to see the players stick with their club teams as long as they're getting good coaching and everything. He said he's going to finish out the year teaching at Vanderbilt, but on the weekends he's going to start trying to work a little bit with the team and just to kind of see where they are and what kind of skill level he has with his players. And the other part, he said he'd like to upgrade the schedule as well and try to see what they can do against some better competition, because he said with your regular season games, you're just not maybe looking to win and lose all the time, but just get yourself prepared to make it to the state tournament.
Sure. So moving over to across the street to the baseball field, the high school has announced there is going to be an interim coach coming in. Of course, we talked about this about 7 weeks ago. Coach Randy Sandifer just decided one day over the over the Thanksgiving holiday.
Over the Thanksgiving break is when it kind of hit Coach Sandifer. He said normally they open up the field during the Thanksgiving break, let the kids work a little bit, and he said it just kind of hit him like he didn't do it, and he said he didn't miss it. So. He just felt like he couldn't put the I guess the effort that's needed to keep the program going at that point, and it happens, and he's going to go be a dad,
right?
And just enjoy his son and his daughter's last couple of years of high school and see what happens there. So.
And they are both at Walker, aren't they?
That's correct.
Right now.
Yeah.
So Walker has named an interim head coach.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's Mr. George Tomplay. If you guys are familiar with the football staff, he's been on the football staff the last couple of years. He does have some baseball experience. Was head coach at Donaldsonville, and he was an assistant at Dutchtown before that. He's also got some softball experience. Just in talking to him, it's just one of those things where they're currently going through their evaluation period. And he kind of, chuckled. I said, so this is truly what it is for you. It's an evaluation period. And he said, no doubt. He's getting a chance to see exactly what his players are bringing to the table, in whatever role that may be. And in turn, they're learning a little bit about him. So it's kind of a situation for both of them at that point. He said, just ask him, I like to ask when people come in and pay money to see what kind of team are they going to see. And he said he's definitely a small ball guy. They're going to grind some stuff out, try to put some runs together and things like that. But it's still a work in progress and trying to get to where they need to be. But he said at the same time, it's they're not limiting your expectations on the team, that you want to go as far as you can and as deep as you can into the playoffs.
So some new faces going to be on Walker's campus in the coming days. Well, I guess Mr. Tom Play's been around.
Yes, he's there.
But same faces, new positions.
Correct.
For Mr. Tom Play. And then, of course, with the new coach coming in for volleyball. Won't see him much this semester, but the kids will get to see him around next fall. Moving north, we're going up to Live Oak. This will be the last coaching change we have for the day, and then we'll get into some basketball. It would appear that as the Eagles have hired a new head coach, and he's putting together some of his staff, he has selected a defensive coordinator.
Right. I think last week when we talked to you, we'll let you know that they hired Live Oak had hired Randall Leggett from St. Thomas as their offensive coordinator, and I think when we talked, I guess the last piece of the staff, I think, was to name a defensive coordinator, and they have done so. It's going to be Cash Littlefield, who would come over and join the staff last year. He was a defensive backs coach, so they didn't have to go very far to find him. It's his first time as a coordinator, and when I talked to him, he made a move. I think he came from Union Parish, and he said when he made that move, it was with the idea that maybe one day he would be a coordinator, and here he is doing it. And just in talking to he and Coach Gonzalez, it seems like they kind of mesh together in terms of what they want to do with their defense. They said they got a lot of young players back, a lot of guys that they think can fit well into what they're going to try to do defensively. He said the biggest part right now is what they want to look at is trying to find a few more players on the back end of that defense. But they've got it in place, and this is the point in time when people are still moving around. There's still the carousel going on, but these are some major moves for Live Oak to put some things in place.
So that staff is coming together pretty quickly.
Yes.
So they'll be getting into spring practice here in a few months as we still with our winter sports. And with that, let's talk about some basketball. You covered a few games last week. Why don't you run through them?
Yeah, I got to go see last week on Tuesday. Went and saw Albany and Holden. Holden gets the win there. Just kind of some things are just starting to kind of come together for them. They went through a little stretch where it was kind of rough early on. Had a little bit of rough stretch there in the parish tournament. They play well, but don't get some W's. So things are starting to come together for them. With Albany, it's just a young group with Coach Brandon Wagner in his first year, and they're still trying to figure some things out at this point. They've opened up district play. They did on Friday. They were at a meet. But just got a chance to look at them, and it's just you don't want to say they're heading in different directions because they're all trying to make things come together. But it was just Holden just kind of puts together a run there and just kind of takes off on them. It was close back and forth early, but just kind of working the boards, getting some rebounds, turn them into transition baskets, and just kind of pull away.
Sure. Anybody else that you got to see last week?
Also went on Friday. Went and saw Springfield and French Settlement boys and girls games there. Just watching the girls. That's two teams in their division that are ranked in the top 10. Last time they played, Springfield was able to pull out a win in the parish tournament. So French Settlement's girls kind of come in with a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They were also coming off a loss earlier in the week, so they had a little something to prove, and it turned into one of those things. Again, it was kind of like that Holden boys game. It's kind of close back and forth, and then French Settlement just kind of goes on a run. They turn some things a little bit up tempo and kind of pull away there. Then I also got to see the boys play the same thing. It was Prince Settlement's boys and Springfield's boys, and I think it was they get to a point in the fourth quarter there where it got to the 35-point rule where the clock is running continuously. That's the new rule they're really enforcing this year. When you get to 35 points, it's a running clock. But again, it was first quarter of that game was back and forth. Maxwell Allison for French Settlement, I think, had 30 points in that game. He kind of found a groove early, hitting some threes and things like that and getting them going.
So all sorts of great basketball action going on right now. And, of course, the coaching carousel continues.
That's it.
As we get updates, we kept wanting to try to close the book on the fall seasons, but it keeps coming back. But that's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll stay with it as long as they keep coming. As long as people let me know that these changes are taking place, we're going to keep you guys updated on them.
Exactly. That's our job. At any rate, please remember to follow Rob on Twitter. Go search him out because you'll be getting all sorts of up-to-the-date scores and schedule changes and all that stuff, all that good, great, juicy sports action here in Livingston Parish. So if you'll introduce yourself, sir.
Just before we roll, I just want to let you know that Denham Springs, the boys, I believe, have won 11 straight games.
Congratulations to
you guys know on that. One of them they pick up the other night against, I believe it was McKinley, get about a half-court 3-point shot in overtime to win that one. Then they go win another 1-point game. So last two, I believe, are 1-point wins. So, but they're on a roll.
Hey, congratulations to the boys over there at the Yellow Jacket Nest. That 11 straight is not easy.
That's
no matter
not easy.
what.
It doesn't matter who you're playing. Doesn't matter if you can win 11 straight. You got something good going, and I think that was one of the things early on. That's a young team, and talking to Coach Caballero early in the season, it's just trying to get those guys to put things together. Now you're starting to see it happen.
Well, congratulations to them, and let's see how far they can go. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, this is Rob DeArmond, sports editor with the Livingston Parish News.
And my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the News. Appreciate you guys out there for joining us for the Livingston Parish News Weekly Show. This is From the Cheap Seats. It's where Rob and I sit down and discuss what's going on in Livingston Parish athletics. Please remember the news is on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays. It's $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you next time.